the Divorced Girl Smiling Podcast with your host, Jackie Pilosoff.
No one should have to go through a divorce feeling alone and isolated. The Divorced Girl Smiling Podcast is a production of Divorced Girl Smiling, where every show is 30 minutes aimed to empower you, help you feel validated and understood, and connect you with some of the best divorce professionals in the industry. So grab a cup of coffee or a glass of wine and start smiling as you join us right now for the Divorced Girl Smiling Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found and always at divorcedgirlsmiling.com. Before we get started, I want to talk about when a divorcing couple decides to sell their marital home. It can add layers of anxiety and fear to their already stressful divorce. And because the divorce is the reason they're selling, these homes often need improvements and renovations. So when I heard about Renovation Sells, a nationwide company that will assess your home and then quickly design and construct a remodel, I felt like these guys were problem solvers. Their streamlined process can help you get multiple offers and such a higher price versus dumping it as soon as possible and settling on a disappointing offer. If you want to learn more, this is a great company. I really trust co-founder Amanda Valente. You can go to renovationsells.com. I also want to tell you about a wonderful divorce attorney in Arizona named Ardenae Fox. And Ardenae has been practicing divorce law for several years, I want to say almost 20. She provides high quality legal representation to her clients and has dedicated her practice to supporting families through the most challenging times in their lives. Before becoming a divorce attorney, Ardenae served as an assistant attorney general representing the Arizona Department of Child Safety in dependency, guardianship, termination of parental rights, and adoption matters. Can't say enough about Ardenae. Just really trust her. She's very dedicated. If you want to learn more, go to foxlawgroupaz.com and you can find both Ardenae and Renovation Sells in the Trusted Professional section of Divorced Girl Smiling. So when people get divorced and you tell people I'm going through a divorce, they probably say things to you like, "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh, are you okay?" And you've never heard somebody say, "Wow, what a great opportunity." Say
Never,
that.
never, ever.
But the thing is, if someone would have said that to me, I wouldn't have told them that they were wrong. Now that I am divorced and I have seen that divorce can be an opportunity. So that's what I want to talk to you about today. And my guest is Liesl Darby. And Liesl is a divorce mediator, a divorce coach, and she works with Leah Hadley at Intentional Divorce Solutions. Hi, Liesl.
Hi. Hi, Jackie.
All right. So Liesl also went through a divorce, and Liesl wrote this article called Recognizing Opportunities Created by Divorce. So this was kind of her joke. Like, you're not going to tell somebody like, "Oh, I'm getting divorced," and they're going to say, "What a great opportunity." But Liesl and I are going to talk about how it really is a good opportunity. And the reason I love this so much is that I feel like people getting divorced feel very hopeless and negative, and they can't see the future that's ahead of them yet. And so there really is a lot of opportunity that comes with getting divorced. Nobody wants to be divorced, but trust me when we tell you, both Liesl and I, it can turn out really, really well for you and you can have a really good life. Do you agree, Liesl?
I do. I'll just tell you a real quick thing. When my husband just told me that he wanted a divorce, um, first of all, I just felt like I'd been gobsmacked and hit up by, with a 2x4. Really, that's how I felt. But it was maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours later after kind of the initial shock had settled. And I looked at him and I didn't even know where these words came from. I said, "I'm finally free." And I was shocked because I'm like, I hadn't been consciously thinking that, but that's what came out of my mouth. And To this day, I don't know why I said that. Well, I do know why I said that, but in the moment, that was not something that was on my radar. I was afraid. My main feeling there was rage from betrayal and just fear of what was gonna come next because I didn't know what was gonna come next. But my soul said, "I'm finally free."
Wow, and I think that you are not alone because I talked to so many people who had their husband leave them, and then they say, "It was the best thing, best gift he could have given me. I just didn't realize it. I was too scared. I would never have pulled the plug." And so, also, though, I want to tell people listening, even if you're the one who wants the divorce, it can really feel like there's no opportunity for you and like, "Oh my gosh, what did I do? I'm taking a big risk here. I'm just gonna have, like, the best life I can and settle because it's better than being with him." But the truth is you can have an exceptionally happy, healthy post-divorce life. So
Yes, you absolutely can.
so let's talk about some of these things, some of these opportunities that people don't realize. And first of all, tell us a little bit about your story, like just really briefly,
Yeah.
what led to your divorce. You said like your husband was spending less and less time with you. He got a new car. He um
He
bring
had a
his
midlife
work.
crisis.
He what?
He was in a midlife crisis,
Okay.
honestly.
So what happened? Sat
So
down
we
one
had,
night.
we've been together for, that time about, yeah, 25 years. We've been married for 25 years, together for 29. And most of that time, we were really good together. Like, I was happy, I was content. And then we moved back to where we had both grown up. We did a lot of moves for his job. Finally got back here. We're with, close with parents, friends, all this stuff. And one of his best friends was going through a divorce at the time. And he started going out to the bars until like 2:30 in the morning. He wanted my husband to come and be his wingman, and I'm like, that's a slippery slope. But okay, I'm trying not to be that wife, right, who doesn't trust. And, so he started going out all the time with his friend, and he was out late, and then he starts seeing his friend, going out with these younger women, and, I wasn't shiny and new anymore, I knew that. Um, but he just became more and more what was happening was he had a work wife, and this work wife was not happy in her second marriage, and so they started just kinda talking on the phone. They worked in different offices, so they weren't physically together, but I could tell that there was something emotionally, at least, going on. I knew that just from things he would say and tones of, voice when he was on the phone with her, things like that. And it wasn't until her husband found the text between those 2 that it blew up. And so
Okay, that would kill me, like,
yeah,
sitting in the background, trying not to act like the jealous wife, and
yeah,
yet you can see this relationship blooming, and there's really nothing you can do about it, and if you would say something, you would appear to be just insecure and jealous, and
right.
but I think in our gut, in our intuition, we know. Women just know, we do. Maybe men know too, but what a horrible, horrible feeling.
Yeah, it like I said, it was a shock to me even though I knew probably something. I thought an emotional affair was probably what was going, which is bad enough, right?
I
That
think it's
in itself is
worse. I think it's worse because
yeah,
then they imagine that the physical part is gonna be perfect. It can be
yeah.
nothing less than perfect. So
So the reason why I didn't do anything mainly was because I Googled male midlife crisis. And this is what it said. It said if you are the spouse of somebody who's going through a midlife crisis, don't try to talk to them about their feelings because it'll make it worse. So just hunker down, keep your head down, don't talk about it, and pray that when the day comes when the fog just suddenly lifts, they that too much damage hasn't been done. Meanwhile, I saw that he had traded in his Cadillac for a Camaro. He traded in his old motorcycle for a Harley because his friend had one. And the part I didn't know is he had traded in me for a younger model.
Wait, Liesel, who gave out advice on Google?
I don't even know.
Because
I
that's
was
the worst advice I've ever heard in my entire
it's
life.
terrible.
Literally, the worst.
It said, male midlife crises last between 2 and 8 years, and at some point during that time, like I said, it said the fog will lift one day, and they'll be like, "Oh my god, what have I done?" And they're praying that they haven't destroyed the relationship. But I know because I was a therapist, right? And my inclination is, "Let's talk about this." Right?
100%. And if
Yeah.
it's gonna end anyway, then talk it through so that you aren't wasting time,
Yeah.
and also so that you can really get an understanding and maybe you can fix it. Without communication, there's no fixing it.
Yeah,
With
I totally
communication, at
agree.
least you have a chance. Okay, so this is very interesting. In this article you wrote for Divorce Girl Smiling, you wrote, we all think that chaos is the opposite of control. And then, but there's a Chinese symbol, and
Yeah.
the Chinese symbol for chaos is the same symbol for opportunity.
Yes.
So they have a proverb, a crisis is an opportunity riding a dangerous wind. One
Isn't it
experience,
great?
two different takes. I absolutely love it. I think that is so smart. So let's talk about these opportunities. Tell me a couple things that you think are opportunities, because I think there's people listening and they're thinking, well, there's what opportunity? But I'm going to cut you off. I'm not going to let you answer because I just looked at the clock and we have to take a break. So,
Okay.
what I want to tell everybody is you're listening to the Divorced Girl Smiling podcast. My name is Jackie Pilosoff. I'm your host. I'm here with Liesel Darby, mediator, divorce coach, and she works with Leah Hadley at Intentional Divorce Solutions. Great, great mediation firm. Liesel and I are talking about opportunities created by divorce. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. Divorce is challenging, but financial clarity doesn't have to be. At My Divorce Solution, the company specializes in empowering those getting divorced to take control of their financial future. My Divorce Solution's signature financial portrait is a document that is put together using an online process implemented by people, not computers, to show you a clear picture of your financial landscape before you make any critical decisions. By preparing in advance, you'll save time, reduce stress, and potentially save thousands of dollars in legal fees. Join the thousands of clients who have transformed their divorce experience with the clarity, tools, and support provided by My Divorce Solution. They will help you gain confidence and clarity before making life-changing choices so that you can have the best possible post-divorce life. Transform your fear into focus, your focus into knowledge, and your knowledge into power. Visit mydivorcesolution.com. I also want to tell you about a wonderful divorce attorney in Chicago and the suburbs. Her name is Tiffany Hughes. I've known Tiffany since 2020 and have always felt such an energy and a passion from her for helping men and women going through a divorce. I respect Tiffany. I think she's a great lawyer. She's really dedicated and a very, very good person. If you want to learn more about Tiffany, you can find her at thughewslaw.com. And you can find both Tiffany and My Divorce Solution in the Trusted Professional section of Divorced Girl Smiling. Welcome back to the Divorced Girl Smiling podcast. My name is Jackie Pilosoff, and I'm your host. And today we're talking about opportunities created by divorce. My guest is divorce mediator and divorce coach Liesel Darby of Intentional Divorce Solutions. Liesel, tell me, if somebody asked you as a divorced person and as a mediator and a divorce coach, let's talk about opportunities. What does that look like to you?
Well, I always say divorce is an ending, but it's also a beginning. And so one of the first thing that comes to my mind, and this is what I went through, was I now have a chance to design a life intentionally for what I want it to look like. And it takes some introspection because it's actually a really great opportunity. Here's another one to really take a look at what your marriage was like and to really get honest and say, you know what, these were some things that I didn't like so much, you know, or these are kind of some things in his personality that I wish, maybe I would have chosen somebody with a different personality that would be more in tune with mine. Or on the flip side, these are the things that I liked. I'd like to, keep these things. But you can really start to take a really good honest look at what was your relationship really like. Now that the rose colored glasses are shattered on the sidewalk and when stomped on, those should be ripped off your face immediately. But let's get really real about what worked and what did not work, and would I choose something different?
See, it's so interesting because when people get divorced, especially if the spouse is the one who left, they're sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, it's all about him. Why doesn't he want me anymore? Why does he want this other woman instead of me? Why doesn't he love our happy family and want to do everything we can to save it? And for people who, if you're the one who wants the divorce, why do I want to leave? Isn't this good enough for me? Why, he's not beating me, so why should I leave? Maybe I
A
feel
low
guilty
bar.
about that. But the thing is that you don't really realize the opportunities until later, until you do the work, either with a divorce coach or a therapist or both, and you get into the divorce and you let time pass and you start living life to realize like, well, wait a minute, this is kind of nice. So don't you think, Liesel, that people think divorce is going to be all doom and gloom and crying all the time? There's many, many happy, empowering, fun, exciting moments.
Yes.
And one example I want to give is that I was a big skier when I was in my 30s, and I skied like all over the country, east, coast. I skied in Vail, Aspen. Those were like my favorite places. And then when I was dating my now ex-husband, he didn't ski. So I basically gave it up. Then we got married. We had 2 young kids. I never skied. And after I got divorced, I went on a ski trip because somebody invited me to their house in Park City, Utah. And I went there and I skied for the first time in about 10 years. And I have to say, I was like, what the heck was I thinking giving up skiing? I love this. And so that was just one little opportunity. But if that made me
Mhm.
so happy, can you imagine all the other opportunities?
Oh, I know. Well, and that's one of the things. I think especially women, we will tend to blend so much into our partner, for a variety of reasons. Like for me, it was like I didn't have a lot of strong opinions about some things he really wanted or he didn't like or stuff. So I would just go with what he wanted because it was easy and I really didn't care. But once I got divorced, it's like, minute, I'm a
Right.
complete whole person all by myself. What do I want
Women
to do?
women do this all the time. Okay, some other opportunities I was thinking about are, how about when so another personal story. I basically ran out of money after being like, I don't want to work. I want to stay home with my kids. I'm getting divorced. They're going through enough. And then, like a few years later, it was like, okay, I have no money. And I had to go back to work. Best opportunity ever. I
Yes.
got self-esteem, started making my own money, stopped waiting around for the child support checks, stopped worrying about what he was or wasn't giving me,
Mhm.
had self-respect, met the nicest people, had a lot of fun, was dressing up every day, appreciated time with my kids more. So I want to tell people, if you are having to go back to work after divorce and you're dreading it or you're scared, you are gonna be the happiest person,
Yeah.
and you are gonna have so many benefits, even too many to count. What do you think?
And talk about opportunity. So this is another chance to say, what do I really want to do? Right? Because I had to, this is how I became a divorce coach and a divorce mediator. I was not on this path when I was married, right? And I'm so much happier. And I talk about finding your voice, talk about becoming independent, talk about, I want to tell you, if you get the chance to make all the decisions in your life without having to bounce it off somebody else or check someone else's schedule, that is fabulous.
Do
It
you know how
is
many women tell me that they have to ask their husband for money? I
yeah,
would rather I can't even imagine anything worse, even if it's a healthy marriage, because then there's always this sort of, like, conditional, like, if you ever wanted to leave, that would
yeah,
come up. The best possible scenario is to be with somebody where you are equals
mhm,
financially, or even you don't even have to be equals. Let's say you're with a really wealthy person, but you make enough for you to live and you don't
yeah,
need his money. That's the best. Which leads me to another opportunity, which is finding somebody who is a better partner for you that makes you a lot happier. And
yeah,
I want to tell everyone who's listening, Liesel's shaking her head, nodding her head, yes, because we don't realize a lot of people think, my husband's leaving me. Oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? And then they meet someone else a couple years later or whatever. They fall madly in love and they go, I can't even believe how lucky I am because now I'm
yeah.
really with the right person. That is opportunity.
It is so good. I mean, I got married really young. I was 22 when I got married. Now, I met him in college, so we'd been together about 4 years by the time we got married, but I'm a different person at I'm how old am I now? I'm 58. I
And
was
so is he.
yeah, he's a little bit older, you know, and so
Is
it's just
your
like
ex still with that woman?
he is currently. I yeah, the last I heard.
Okay, I
The
was just
the
curious because a
yeah,
lot
the
of
last
the
I
time
heard,
it
but
doesn't. Go ahead.
I don't think, what I know from him is that he won't want, to be that guy who has more than one divorce.
Oh,
So
is
he might
he married?
yeah, I think he might, I don't think he's gonna be the one to pull the trigger, but I wouldn't be surprised if she does. So,
Well, I had a friend who was on her second marriage, and she said, "I would never get divorced no matter how miserable I am because I don't wanna be divorced twice, and I would never want my ex-husband to, like, say, 'See? She got remarried and it didn't work out.'" And that was very sad to me because I
yeah.
thought, "Is it really worth it to stay miserable because you don't want you care what people think?" I just
Yeah.
didn't like that.
We used to watch Friends, you know, and how Ross was that was his thing, was getting married and divorced. And I remember when we were watching that, my husband was like, I don't ever wanna be a Ross." But,
And then he
you know
was.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
okay, another thing I thought of as an opportunity is parenting. So I hear from a lot of people who say, like, now I look back and I cringe at the way my ex parented. And now I can do what I want to do without having to catch heat from my ex. I can really raise my kids the way I want to. But
Yeah,
there's one thing you have to think about. They're spending half the time, maybe not half, maybe half, depending on the custody schedule, but you have to let your ex parent the way your ex is gonna parent. You
yeah,
can't try to control it like Jackie did, big time.
yeah.
And so I thought that was important.
So, that is so important, but again, that goes back to the control, right? Chaos is the opposite of control. So, I what I've learned is re in so many instances, if you can let go of control, you're gonna be so much happier, right? The whole go with the flow, just kinda take things as they come. The more you try to control means you're trying to hold on tightly to something that you can't do that, and that's ultimately gonna hurt you if you try that too much. And what I tell parents when I'm working with them is, as long as there's no safety issues involved, you gotta let it go.
Absolutely. Love that advice. If the kids don't brush their teeth while they're at dad's house, they're not gonna die. If the kids eat junk food and chips and stay up late, they're not gonna die. And, you just gotta let it go. And another thing, I don't know if you agree with me, Liesel, but I think when you are trying to relinquish control, it's very important to have faith in God
Yeah.
and say, God loves me. God loves my children. God is going to have our back. It's going to be okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's part of the just letting go. You have to have trust. You have to have faith.
Faith in
And know
God.
that, you know, here's the thing. So nobody has perfect childhoods. Nobody has a perfect, like, nobody on this planet has easy peasy every single day. That's not here. That's not how it works. So even if, it's not perfect, your kids will be okay. And a lot of things are chances for them to learn to build their own character. It's okay to make mistakes because that's how we learn. Um, and it opens up other opportunities for, like, I always say the most important thing you can do as a parent is to keep that line of communication open with your kid, no matter what. Just as long as your kids know that you love them and that it's okay to make mistakes and it's okay to not be perfect. It's okay. They have to be able to love both parents. That's very, very important. Um, and your job is to raise kids who will be good adults, right? It's not to be their best friend. It's not to protect them from every single thing. Um, Resilience. You want your kids to be able to have things happen to them and know how to handle it and bounce back from it.
Well,
So,
now I can tell that you're a therapist because that sounds therapy-ish, but you're so right because you have to let your kids experience disappointment, pain, emotional pain, and you can't do anything. All you can do is be there for them to talk if they want to talk, let them know you're there for them, hug them a lot, show them a lot of love and warmth, but they have to experience it. And I know as a parent, I cringe when I see my kids hurting about something. And, like if they broke up with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or they are trying to find a job and they're really frustrated. And I think to myself, well, these are all things that I experienced when I was young. I have to let them experience. I can't take that
yeah,
for them. And that's
it's life.
hard as a parent.
That's life, right? That's just what we're here for.
And
Um,
the other thing I forgot to say is not only have faith in God when it comes to the uncontrollable, but have faith in other people. Like, have faith in your ex that he's not going to let anything happen to your kids. He loves them just as much as you do. Have faith in your kids. They're not going to
yeah,
do anything stupid. Like they're smart. They know what they're doing. Have faith in like maybe your husband has a neighbor who's helping out or you're seeing mutual friends and your kids are seeing them and they have your kids back. So have
yeah.
faith in teachers and everybody who your kids are surrounded by.
Yeah, they're not just falling into a black abyss, you know? They're
Yes.
I like your point. Yeah, there's many, many people in their lives who are looking out for them. So, just learn to relax. And the other thing I tell parents is, you know what? When your kids are with your ex, you have a free babysitter. So now is your chance to now you have some time for yourself. What are you going to do with that? And some women have no idea because they've never had that, right?
And they feel guilty for being
Mhm.
so happy. My kids used to walk out the door with my ex and I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I get all this free time." And then I'd be like, "I'm a I can't believe I'm happy about this." And you have to let go of that guilt and say, "It's an opportunity for me to get stuff done,
Mhm.
heal myself, work on myself, whatever you wanna
Yeah.
do, have fun."
Recharge, and then you're gonna be an even better parent when your kids come back because you've had the chance to spend some time on yourself, to, take some walks, to read a good book or a junky book even, or, just sit in a bathtub or just talk with your friend, whatever you wanna, or lay on the couch all day, who cares? Whatever it is that you wanna do, and you're gonna feel better when you do get your kids back because you've had the time to rejuvenate yourself. And so many moms who are married, who are still in that, they don't get that time, right?
And they actually people have told me that they were envious of me in that time.
Yeah.
So, Liesel, thank you so much for taking time to be on the Divorce Girl Smiling podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm always happy to be here.
And if people want to hire you and Leah as their mediators, how can they reach you?
We are at let's see. So there's Liesel at greatlakesdfs.com. That's my email. You can find our website is intentionaldivorcesolutions.com. That's Leah's stuff is on there too. Those are probably the easiest ways. We're out there.
I also want to tell people that if you are in like a complex financial situation, Leah is really specialized in financing. If you own your own business together, if your situation is complicated, great mediator for that too.
Yeah, she's awesome. A lot of times when people are doing mediations with me, if they do have complex stuff, I just refer them to her and she'll take care of that part. Then they can come back and finish the other stuff with me. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Liesel.
Thank you, Jackie.
You can also find intentional divorce solutions, Leah and Liesel, in the trusted professional section of Divorced Girl Smiling, divorcedgirlsmiling.com. And you can also go to my site to listen to more podcasts, read articles, or sign up for my free consult where I will talk to you for 30 minutes, listen to your story, listen to everything that's bugging you. You can vent, and then I'll connect you with divorce professionals who I think are the best fit for you. So thank you so much for listening, everybody, and we'll talk to you real soon.